Thank you everyone for joining us on this webinar brought to you by the Ethical Hacker Network, a free online magazine and community for security professionals. In criminal attacks, as well as penetration testing, which is what a lot of us do, the fastest and easiest way into any organization is through phishing. Erich Kron of KnowBe4 will present the basics of phishing, a technical foundation with tools such as Modlishka and the Social Engineer Toolkit, and then he'll show us how to drastically ramp up the effectiveness of those tools with proven techniques of hacking the human brain.
So obviously my name is Erich Kron. I'm security awareness advocate at KnowBe4. We know that phishing is the path to pwn, right? This is just, we see this over and over again. And you know, Don mentioned earlier, we do pretty good on the infrastructure and securing that. Where we actually kind of fall down a little bit, where we have some security in place where we don't do well is when a user that has permissions is owned. They tend to have much more permissions and availability within the organization than they probably should. And we do need to work on that from the technology standpoint. When we look at the goals of phishing, right, generally speaking, it comes down to money. That's really what we have here. There is some, sometimes there are organizations that go after the information, right? And there is some of that. I mean, you can resell the information, but that comes back to money. So when we're talking about the bypassing of critical thinking, here's a piece right here. These came across last year. This was about school shootings, right? An emergency scare earlier reported on campus. This was a real email. They had researched and found out that this college used Microsoft for their email. So what did they do? They sent them to a credential phishing site here. So grab their credentials. It was basically designed to either scare or anger people into doing that. We saw other variants of this as well, but this was a pretty effective one going out there around the time that all of those attacks were going on. So that being said, pretty scary world out there. How do we defend ourselves against it? So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to this website basically. And what it's going to do is it's going to track who I am, and it's going to capture my credentials, and it will actually capture an entire session. So up there on the top, I had an ident equals 424242. This is my Gmail or my Google account name. You see there, it collected that name there. And I have a very, very secure password in place here. Let's see if it's going to prompt me. Oh, it didn't. Okay, well, anyways, it captured some of the information. This will normally prompt me for my multi-factor. It'll send me the text message, and then I will actually be able to go in and take over the account by capturing the session ID. So it will do the session, and I'll show you here. Here's kind of the control panel on this. And Don, caw about what we talked about earlier. You can see that it has captured the username and the password here. And again, this impersonate user piece, it's not working perfectly right now. Again, it's in beta, but this will capture actually the session information that you need to impersonate that user from any other machine.
And with that, again, I thank you so much for your time, and we will see you next time. Thank you, and have a great rest of the month.